question of the day. Would you rather live here or in a city somewhere? Stay tuned. I'll tell you what I think. Okay, folks, so here's my story. First of all, this is like my fourth moto vlog without the beautiful, friendly, sweet, gorgeous Mrs. Bodine on the back of the bike.
Bite me.
And I realized after watching a couple of my videos while I was editing that they're much better when she's on the bike. No comments, please, about that. So, Mrs. Bodine and I actually met while I was in college, and she worked for a college buddy of mine in the federal government in Washington, D.C. He graduated earlier than I did. So, needless to say, we met on a blind date, and she brought me cheesecake, which was really smart because she really made it good. As a matter of fact, now that I think about it, I've never had cheesecake again that she's made. Huh. Is that bait and switch? What is that? Or is that just being smart? I don't know. Anyway, so I grew up in Michigan and spent a lot of my life in bigger cities, to be honest. I would say I grew up as pretty much as a city boy. I love being downtown, whether it's for businesses or events or restaurants or hanging out or bars or whatever. I spent 4 or 5 years in Chicago, which I loved. Great sports town, fabulous big city, but it's pretty fast-paced, right? You can, if you happen to be in the business I'm in, you can age in dog years. I know a lot of you folks have seen me, and I'm actually only 24, so I know I look a little bit older than that. That's because of the time I spent in traffic in Chicago. But my point is, Mrs. Bodine grew up in the country. So we had a country girl that was, to a certain extent, a little shy. Boy, has that changed. And me, who grew up in the city. As a matter of fact, when we were discussing our not only wedding rehearsal, but the party after the wedding, why I can't think of the name, I don't know, whether it's I'm getting older or I have been married for so long that I forgot it. But when we were kind of working out the details, Mrs. Bodine's mother and father, sweet people, both still alive, still living in Maryland, wanted to have their Uncle Jimmy shuck oysters. And they had another friend that was in a country band. So they wanted to have a country band and oyster shucking. Now, Southern Maryland, that's the right thing, right? They would have had crabs, that would have added it, would have been perfect, right? So, by the way, if you don't know what Maryland blue crabs are, you are missing the world. So, long story short, I was like, I'm not inviting any of my buddies from college. I'm not inviting any buddies from home. Mind you, I'm not paying for this. Her parents are, so what right do I really have for that? But, long story short, I shouldn't say long story short because I never have a short story. Anyway, we had a country band. Her Uncle Jimmy shucked oysters. I invited my friends anyway. I would say I had 10 to 12 buddies that came down. Flew into town for the little party and of course the wedding and the reception. That's it, the reception, Bodine. And I got to tell you what, to a man, they were like, dude, we had more fun at your reception than we've ever had in any other time we've been to a wedding. And And I'm like, wow, dude, maybe it's me, right? And so now, fast forward 32 years, I think it's 32 years. I hope Mrs. Bodine doesn't watch this video, because I should probably know that. I know we were married in October, but anyway. So now, especially when we started going, when we lived in Chicago, Mrs. Bodine, and I was in a work role there that we went to a lot of benefits and a couple galas and stuff, and of course she got to buy these dresses, and it was a black tie type thing, and all of a sudden she's like, this is pretty cool, right? We had box seats to the Chicago Blackhawks and Bulls for work, so we were there a lot, and they were super expensive from a company perspective, but so she started to get introduced to non-country stuff. So she still loves being back home and still loves living in the country, and if I would sell the house and buy a farmhouse, she would love it, right? But she's really started to turn into, I wouldn't say more of a city girl, but she's in the middle now, right? Now me on the other side, Mr. City Boy, now all I like doing is riding in the country, not being in big cities with a lot of traffic. And it's amazing how you change. It's also amazing that two people from the opposite side, me being a city boy and super outgoing, her being a country girl and kind of a little quiet. By the way, just to clarify, at like year 10, that quiet crap stopped. And now sweet Mrs. Bodine will eat you alive if you say something about her kids. So, just so you know. But it's amazing how people that are from two different places can get along and get married, and how they can change. The idea that I would want to put a caboose in my yard because I think it looks cool is something that I would laugh at myself about in the years past. And I really wanted to make that right. So, tell me about you. I think about different people, and I see some folks that are, show that they're driving around the city, and you can tell that they're from a more populated area, and then you got other folks that are out in the country a lot, and I guess I kind of like them both. But what's your story? Have you changed, or has it always been that way? Stop here on red, but I don't want to because there's a line there and I'll slip. Just curious if you've actually either married somebody that was opposite of you, and or changed from being a city liking the city life better than the country, and vice versa, or if you're in the middle. So that's my story. That's it. That's what I got today, which means I'm probably not. I probably should make a material list, right? So when I come out and do vlogs, it can be something that's not off the cuff. But it's like, it always happens. Like I go out and I'm like, all right, I'm going to talk about one thing today. And then I talk about like 5 different things, or I'll make a couple different videos, right? And I'm like, man, am I full of crap? Or do I just like talking or listen to myself, or what's the problem? So this happens to be a little town that's south of where we live, and this is the courthouse that Mrs. Bodine was in because she witnessed an accident, actually with a motorcycle, believe it or not. Unfortunately, the guy was okay, but I gotta at some point do a video on Mrs. Bodine's going to court for a traffic ticket back when we lived in the other side of Pennsylvania, because you'll think it's cute, sad, or hilarious. But that is it for me, folks. I'm going to fight a little more traffic on the way home. Thanks for listening to me. I appreciate it. Get out there and ride. Be safe. Hug a loved one. And as always, thanks for checking in on Bodine. And I promise more videos will come, and the beautiful Mrs. Bodine will be on the back, and it won't be me. Thanks, folks, and we'll talk to you soon.
Recording.
Phew, it stinks back here. If you live by cows, it's kind of cool to see, but man, you get used to the stink, because I don't think I can handle that. alpaca farm. Alpaca. Oh, what's one? Okay, what's going on there? Hey, get off that thing. That is rated X alpaca crap right there. Oh my god, I can't unsee that. Here, chicken. Here, chick. I almost just ran over a squirrel. Them little bastards are fast. Gotta tell you. That'd be a wife beater t-shirt, wouldn't it? Huh. Alright. Chick, birdie. Chick. You guys think I'm crazy, don't you? I'm telling you, there's people over here that have chickens. I live in a nice neighborhood, and just off the neighborhood we get out of, people have chickens. Which Mrs. Bodine would have in my yard if I would be okay with it. And it's not that Mrs. Bodine can't do what she wants or have things, but chickens? Nah. Alpacas? Nah. She'd have them both if she could. Alright, let's see if we can see some of these chickens. Dude, what are you doing? You're flattening your yard? Huh. Somebody's got to explain that one to me. Here, chicken. Here, chicken. They're up there somewhere. There they are. You see them? Can you see the chickens? Those are chickens, right? Cool. Matter of fact, you go by, and the guy always waves at you, and I think that's because they're like free roaming chickens, and they're walking around in his yard, and he does that. Maybe he's just friendly, or maybe he does that because he didn't want you to run over his chickens. Or he shouldn't have them out there or something. I don't know. So I got chickens and then my neighborhood. Huh. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. To each his own. Wait, didn't I just do a video on me liking being in the country? Huh. I better not include this because that'll screw up my whole philosophy, won't it? Okay. Edit, Bob.